Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back. We are live on location at my good friend Cosette's house. What's up, Cosette?
Hey, Wes. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I don't know if the audience can hear it, but we have the United States Navy flying over, so you may hear that. It may edit out. I don't know. One of the things I did on the show, I don't know, I guess a few months ago, is I got rid of the intro and the outro. I hope everybody likes that because it just goes right into the show. It makes it
I
easier.
love it. Jump right in.
Well, you know who told me to do that, right?
Who?
Chat GPT.
So smart.
Yeah. It's a she. She named herself Nova.
Oh, nice.
So have you asked Chat what
No,
your
I just call it
program's
chat,
name is?
like chat. Like,
Yeah.
It's my chat.
Oh, yeah. I talk to them, ask them what they're doing. They're like, well, Wes, I'm a computer program. I'm like, well, I'm just still seeing what you're doing.
How's your day going?
You never know what they're going to say. Well, we have, gosh, what's today? We're halfway through the summer. It's been 5,000 degrees here in eclectic Virginia Beach, and we're currently in eclectic Chesapeake. So,
And we're in the middle of just a week of rain on top of fire smog from Canada coming down. So it's been an interesting week,
yeah.
interesting atmosphere.
Well, we have a big following in Canada, so I hope you guys are okay. And whenever you want to take your smoke back from the fire and put that out, we would appreciate it. We hope you're doing well with that. So what are we going to do today, Cosette? We're doing something different.
We are doing something different, Wes. And I have to tell you first, I'm honored and feel quite special that you've asked me for this unique interview special with you. It's not often that somebody gets to interview the host of their own podcast.
Right. Well, I thought about who I wanted to ask. You're the only name that came up. And your cat just scratched me too.
She is right here for it.
Yeah, I tried to move my hand quick and I was not fast enough.
Yeah, you get a few rubs with her, but only a few.
Yeah. Story of my life with all the girls.
Well, I know you have kind of your method and your way of the podcast and the time. I would like to kind of go off script and not have a time limit and just really see kind of where this takes us today, if you're open for that.
It's your show.
All right.
I'm just the guest.
You ready to dive in?
I'm ready to dive in.
All right. It's interesting when I think back on you and I and our relationship and interactions over many, many, many years. It's been across many lanes of life, not just one.
Yeah.
We've crossed paths professionally, personally, and now in a spiritual sense. And I have to take pause on that and really look at, like, when life puts people in your path, not just once, not twice, but thrice. It's time to kind of wake up and look at, who is this person? What is their meaning in my life? And what purpose is there? And so this is really special to me for us to be here together and doing this, because we've both been on a path, and you helped me kind of get onto another journey in your wake of your own journey. And it's been just a fascinating ride, and not one that you can control. In the business world, we make plans. In the personal world, we make plans. And this one is like, you just got to throw all caution to the wind and say, take me for the ride, and trust the process. So I kind of want to start with your journey, because when we first met, we were both brokers, and you were this big bad broker and in the real estate world with a big name and a big family history.
Yeah.
And now
I
you
did.
have a completely new and different reputation and purpose in life, connected with still us being brokers. So take me through kind of how that journey started from broker to healer.
That was painful. I was going through a divorce, and I had met this girl. So long story short, I bought this big house because I wanted to live in Virginia Beach, and I wanted to have chickens. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I wanted to have chickens. And in the city of Virginia Beach, takes the FU out of fun, right? So there's nothing fun. You can do no fun in Virginia Beach. So I bought a house that I could hide my chickens in the backyard, and it was on deep water. It had a little inlet behind it that you could put a small boat in and go out and fish and stuff. And so I bought that. So at that time, even though it was painful, I was just rolling in the real estate world. So I bought this 4,800 square foot house. I had 5 cars, a couple Maseratis. I was doing whatever I wanted. I think I had 2 or 3 boats. I don't know why I had 2 or 3 boats, or, the cars are kind of like girls' shoes. You need a different car for different moods, right? I had the big Excursion, the Jeep, the fast sports cars, and
the boats. And
yeah. So I was probably trying to fill a hole a little bit, but I was working hard, and we bought that house, and schizophrenia turned on for her.
Yeah.
So my whole life turned upside down again. I can't say I didn't have gifts. I had some gifts, and one of my gifts was that I can connect with somebody at a very, very deep level. So I didn't understand that at the time, but
The empath.
Huh?
Quite the empath.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I wasn't as clueless as I thought I was. I just thought that was normal. Right. Me being me, it had to be painful because I don't understand easy. God put me through what he put me through because he knew if there was a burning bush there saying, "Hey, Wesley, I want you to be this great healer," I would have called the fire department, right? Because I thought that's where I was supposed to be. And I liked where I was. I had a big firm. We were doing lots of business. I'd always been uncomfortable in my skin, so it wasn't abnormal to be uncomfortable in my skin. Right. So I think what the big shift was with that was Christina, I ended up having her arrested and removed from the house. It was that bad. And that poor thing ended up being diagnosed with 8 personalities, and schizophrenia and stuff turned on for her just almost overnight. So she is well. I talked to her actually a few months ago for the first time, and she's married and she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. So I'm pleased with that. But she's not coming back into my life. So I can love you from a distance and you're not going to know where I live. So I don't know if I'm answering that question properly, but going from broker to healer, I kind of equate that to Marine Corps boot camp, where they take you and they rip you down to absolutely nothing, and then they rebuild you to who they want you to be. And that is somebody who can survive and thrive in chaos. And that's one of the challenges that veterans have is chaos is normal. So you stay in the chaos and you feel comfortable. And then when it's quiet, it's really uncomfortable. So I'm still working on that. And so I went through that process. And if you listen to the show, the first 2 seasons is we go through that.
Knowing your story, I would definitely say your time in that house and in that relationship would be like your Marine boot camp in the spiritual world. Because I know we grow, we learn, we accomplish, and then we think we know so much.
Yeah.
Right? And the more we know, the more we get broken down and pulled apart to our vulnerable pieces. So aside from the relationship with the experiences you had in the house after she was out and you were left in the home with what was there with you, what was that like?
I am definitely not Superman when I say this, but I've never experienced fear before. Not like this. I was scared when I knew I was going to have Sydney, and I was you're scared getting married, but I'm talking about real fear.
Right.
And I had a hard time with that.
One's a fear of something you can't see, you can't touch, you can't grab, you can't handle.
Well, I remember saying many times to some people that I would be in my home and feel just like I'm in your home right now, then all of a sudden you can smell rotting flesh, or you're picked up and shoved, or you're scratched across your chest or something of that nature. Originally that happened in the home, but eventually it happened anywhere it wanted. It could follow me anywhere. I wasn't accustomed to the fear. It bothered me at a deep level. I didn't know what to do, was pull the trigger, but I don't have that in me to do it. I was left trying to figure things out, and that's what I did is I fought. I fought as best I can. It's funny, I seen something on Facebook, a little video or something on another guy's podcast, and it was this priest talking about basically what I went through. And he said, in today's society, we grab these 3D tools like a gun or whatever, or some kind of weapon. He said, that doesn't work there. He said, you have to go back and use ancient tools. And I learned how to use ancient tools.
So what I found fascinating over the years of learning and hearing about your story is that you didn't have a large religious or spiritual background to begin with, which is where a lot of people would just assume.
Yeah.
And learning how many different religious practices, modalities, rituals you went through to try to cleanse the house, to try to protect yourself, right? Here's this big bad Marine, and you have an enemy that you can't aim at, you can't put your hands on, right? And while it was so visceral and visible and physical for you, metaphorically, everyone in the world walks every day with their own demons, right?
Sure.
Whether they know the depth of them or not. And what do? We down alcohol or pills or indulge in things to try to numb ourselves so that we don't feel that.
Yeah.
And you had to come face to face with it in every metaphysical, sense of the word, and deal with something that you would never have found on a battleground.
Yeah, that was fucked up, man. It was.
The Catholic exorcism was my favorite part.
Yeah, right. I tried a bunch of different things, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to call it my favorite, but one of the iconic days was where I went and put holy water into the swimming pool. Now, I'm getting drunk while I'm doing this because my whole world's over in my mind. So I'm getting drunk, going to fuck with these demons. And so I make the whole swimming pool holy water. I put a pump in there and I'm spraying. So imagine the neighbors looking over, hearing me cuss and yell at the top of my lungs. And I'm spraying this holy water everywhere. And I got a little arrogant and I said, I'm stronger than you. I've never been hit so hard by anything in my life is whatever that was that hit me. It took me over 2 hours to crawl from the swimming pool to the edge of the street because I knew if I could get off the property at that time, I would feel better. I went through a concussion a couple years ago that was really bad, and this was 3 or 4 times harder of a hit. I don't know what that was, and I just remember sitting there, me being me. I'm on my hands and knees next to the pool, and I'm being a smartass, and I said, well, I know I said I'm stronger than you. I meant to say that God's stronger than you, and he hit me again. And then me being me, of course, I said, fuck you. You don't have what it takes to kill me, so fuck you. And he hit me again and hit me again. And the reality is they couldn't. But I was just, that was an interesting day.
To say the least.
It was an interesting. I wish we had it on video. That'd be pretty cool. And put on America's Funniest. Hey, look at this fool. But I think I think I needed to have that. So one of the things that helped me understand that I didn't know Jesus was a Jew. I didn't know anything.
Right.
So when they told me that, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, I gotta be honest, it's still confusing. And then when I seen him being crucified, when he showed me that, I remember telling Sandra Grace, it may as well have been dinosaurs doing it because I thought that was 300 or 400 years apart. But when I look back at everything now, there was all these little teeny tiny pieces that he kept showing me. He let the demon do that. He let the devil do that so I could learn. And what I learned was that holy water, that spiritual water is real. There's something there. It is powerful because when I looked at the security cameras that night, all the trees on the property would shake back and forth. But when you look at the trees off the property, they're perfectly still. So the camera system, everything on inside encompassed in the property was always looking bizarre and you would see things. But if you looked at the neighbor's house, it was right. But where I sprayed that holy water, it took it like 4 or 5 days before those trees looked messed up again. I never forgot that. I was like, that is the power of what God brings to the table. Just a little teeny tiny piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our physical minds try to quantify everything, right? A drop of water, a gallon of water, right? Or time and space, which is not the same. I mean, I remember being a little girl and my mom always told us, you can command the darkness away. If you feel uncomfortable, if something is, feels not right, you can command it away. And she would say, you are a daughter of God, and through God, you can command that power.
Yeah.
And it probably took me 45 years, literally like this year, to really grasp the concept of, oh, she was right. Like that wasn't just a bedtime story or a prayer or one religious belief. Like that is, it just is. It is all.
It is.
Right?
It is. Well, I think it's interesting. They're coming out saying all these aliens are real, right? Which we've known something's been there forever. And now all these people are coming out saying, oh, once you hear the truth, your belief in God is going to be crushed. And I'm like, dude, kick rocks, brother. That is the darkness just trying to plant a seed. And the reality is that is real. And I don't care what you bring to the table. My connection to Jesus Christ, my connection to God, my connection to Archangel Michael, you are never going to sever that with those silly stories. So if you're hearing that aspect out there, just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's the darkness there.
Yeah. And what limiting beliefs to think we're the only creation.
Yeah, right?
Right? Like I can only grow tomatoes. I can do more than that.
Yeah, yeah. Right? Yeah, that's true. It's I mean, we're humans. We're not perfect beings.
Right. We're beings in a human experience, and there's a veil for a reason because this is an experience. It's just like going to Busch Gardens and riding a roller coaster for the first time. You just don't know what you're signing up for until that first drop, until your stomach's in your throat,
Yeah.
And that's what life is all about, is having that experience. Speaking of which, your healing experience. So as you came through this, the house and we'll call it the hauntings, because everyone listening has something that has or is haunting them in some sense. And so as you came through that experience, where did the healing begin? What was the first step into finding God, finding healing, finding this new journey?
I think there was multiple steps in that. The first step was asking her to leave the house and realizing that, see, I thought we were going to get married because I didn't understand what I was seeing. I didn't know how to date. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who she was. But she had a nephew
That you loved.
Yeah. Kind of loved Connor. So here I am. Not only did I lose both my children going through the divorce, which I still don't understand, I've somewhat got my daughter back, but now I'm going to lose this little boy. So I think there was lots of steps in it. And the first step was, I just can't do this anymore. But I think the biggest step was when I did that session with the priest. He had me go back to that room and I was getting ready to be raped, and he asked me to look for Jesus. And I mean, Cosette, I can drop the F-bomb a little bit, but I was in this priest's office and I was like, motherfucker, and all this, that was all coming out of my mouth. But I was so broken, I was so destroyed, I had nowhere else to go. And when he asked me to look around the room and look for Jesus, I just remember being furious with him because that wasn't real. If he was real, he was going to pull me out of that room. And as I looked around the room in my mind's eye, there was, this room had a picture of Jesus on the wall. He says, no, honey, look for him, really look for him. And I remember saying, what the fuck, Father? What the fuck? And when I looked over to my left side, he was there. And he asked me, he said, what did he say? I said, he didn't have to say anything because he was crying. He was watching me be raped with a gun to the back of my fucking head. And he cried. That's when I realized he was real. And that's when I realized he's not there to pull me out of that room. He was there to love me through the experience.
Yeah.
That changed everything.
Yeah.
I had forsaken him my whole life. My whole life. And he was there the entire time. I mean, who does that?
It's an incredible realization. I know in my own experience, the moment that hit me, there were many times I forsake and wondered why I was left, why I was abandoned, why I wasn't protected, why I've been alone. And then when you come out the other side of it and realize, oh no, it's because we're meant for something great. We're meant to endure, to survive that, because it's creating and building you into something for the future.
Yeah.
And it wasn't abandonment.
It's interesting how, like, I'll talk to my daughter, Sydney, now. When my ex-wife and I separated, she had just graduated high school. We were talking about experiences we had when she was a child and how her perception was so different than what actually happened, but that's through the eyes of a child. Mm-hmm. And then I look back in my life to where I was looking at all these different experiences basically through the eyes of a child, even though I might have been a grown adult, because I didn't know any better. Right. I had no experience with God, with spirituality. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she said, "You're pretty religious." I said, "I'm not religious." That bothers me when people say that, because I believe religion brings guilt and shame. Spirituality doesn't have guilt and shame. We're still believing in God. Now, there's a lot of people that like to say God, and that's okay. I've been there. But at the end of the day, spirit, the universe, whatever, it's God. So
I think I remember saying to you one time a year or so ago, if the two of us were standing on the edge, if the two of us were standing on the edge of the veil, getting ready to dive into this human experience, I could imagine you looking at me and saying, "Do your worst." And I would say, "Give me a wild ride."
yeah.
Leave no experience unturned. I want all of it. I do not want an average, mundane life. Give it all to me. In that moment, you don't know. We don't know if you're signing up for cancer or loss or death or pain, right? Mm-hmm. But we know what our mission is. We know our purpose. We want the fullest life, right?
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite things to say is you got to bet on yourself, right? You got to bet on yourself that you're not going to succumb, that you're going to succeed and thrive and come out the other side. So after all of this, what do you think the greatest lesson, we'll call it the haunting, the haunted house, what do you think the greatest lesson you took from that is?
I believed in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to see all the wonderful things, meet the beautiful people, even seeing the demons was, honestly, it was extraordinary. I mean, there's a lot of what the fuck moments, and there's a lot of times I was literally, my hands were shaking. But it taught me to believe in myself. And it taught me that God was real and I believed in him. But I feel like I needed to believe in myself first.
Yeah.
That's just me, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Absolutely.
right or wrong, but I knew that there was this glimmer, this flicker of hope. And I've always said for many, many years that my second favorite 4-letter word is hope.
After the F word?
Yes, after the F word. Yeah. And Because for me, I chose a hard life. I remember choosing a hard life. I remember choosing when it was time to get out of high school, I researched for months what's the most difficult thing I could do. That was join the United States Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that. I wanted to succeed at the most difficult thing I could do. And I always remembered people saying, well, if you can be successful in New York City, you can do it anywhere. Well, fuck New York City. I don't like New York City. Sorry, guys. If you're listening, you can keep it. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't like the big buildings and stuff, even though it's a beautiful place. But I wanted to do something that very few people could do, and I was good at it. And what I didn't realize is when I was selecting that, I was giving myself the tools to survive the haunting and doing the healing work and stuff like that because I'm not afraid.
Right.
I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. Even as of just last week, I turned around, there's a demon standing there. I started laughing. I was like, I'm not afraid anymore. But I think that's it. I think that's the answer.
So speaking of these gifts, and, you know, again, we've had these conversations. You actually coached me through this. Once you see something, once you know something, you can't unknow it, right?
Yeah.
I like to say that my journey's been a journey of truth, but everybody's truth can be different, right? Truth is a variable based on your experiences, but finding what is real. And once you know something, not believe it, but you know it, you can't unknow it. And no matter what anybody else says or judges or ridicules, it will not change something. There's nothing anybody on this planet could say to you that would change what you went through or make you believe it different than the way that it happened, right?
That's right.
So now, through these experiences that each of us have, and each of us come into a knowing some and you can't unknow it, how does that affect your daily life now? Like some things have opened up. You have open eyes to certain things. You know, I have my experiences. I see them and feel them one way. You see and feel them different. And it's a beautiful thing that we can share it and know it and believe it in each other, right? Without having to, I think one of the things that cripples this world is if you don't see it or believe it the way I do, then it can't be, right? Because people have a fear of differences, different beliefs, different whatever. And we like to come from curiosity. You once said to me after we talked the first time in the parking lot at the Realtor Association,
Yeah.
and you made a joke when you interviewed me that I asked if we could go to lunch the next week, and your exact words were, because I wanted to see if you were telling the truth. And I didn't correct you in my podcast, but I thought about it after, and it wasn't if I thought you were telling the truth. I wanted to sit across the table from you, look you in the eye, and see if you believed your truth. And if you believed it, then I would believe it with you and for you in your life, in your manner, right? So now you have these things that have opened up, and with all gifts come great responsibilities and some burdens, right? So talk to me a little bit about post-experience, the hauntings and being opened up to some dark entities. How has that shifted and changed your world, your everyday world today?
What's funny is fast as it turned on, when it was off, it turned off for the most part. The stuff that crawled on me that I talked about in the show, actually, I don't think I've ever said on the show before, that lasted a couple more years. It took a while for that part to go away. And that's because the holes in my etheric shield were healing. And as long as those holes were there, I was still at some level being attacked. And I think at some level, I allowed it to happen, right? It's not that I wanted it to happen, but my vibration was a lot lower than it is now. And My normal was being uncomfortable. My normal was being sad. My normal was I'm not good enough. And so I think that left the door open for that to happen.
Yeah.
It took me 4.5 years to get to what I consider now as normal, which is most people would be like, this is the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen. The funny thing is, I always wanted to have a bunch of friends. Now, anywhere I go, for the most part, and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but anywhere I go, I typically know somebody there. From real estate, my healing work growing up here, the surfing community, whatever it is. But I have only probably 4 or 5 people that are in my inner circle, and clearly you're one of them. One of the things I've noticed and gotten comfortable with as I healed is I'm alone more now than I ever have been in my life. But I'm okay with it now. I don't feel sad. I don't feel lonely. I'm just by myself. I don't even say I'm by myself. It's just me and the dog. I'll say it's me and the dog. I don't like to even say those words that I'm by myself, because I'm not. I mean, I can look over and there's angels there. I can talk directly to God. I can talk directly to Jesus, Archangel Michael. I can do stuff. I've got beings that aren't necessarily here that I'm friends with. And so I don't know if I'm answering that question properly or not. I've gotten comfortable in my skin.
Yeah. That's a huge feat, by the way.
It's taken me a long time.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And it's a universal struggle, like in its just simplest form, right?
Yeah.
So many people haven't found that. And again, back to numbing and dulling that feeling of loneliness, depression, or what have you. But I think through your experience, it sounds like you came out the other side knowing that you're quite not alone.
Yes, I'm not alone. Just because I choose to be in my house with the dog and myself, that's my choice. The reality is in 14 seconds, I could probably have somebody go do something with, but I don't fucking feel like doing it.
Right. Well, and I think it's interesting, like you said, your inner circle might be 4 or 5 people. Both of us coming from the real estate world where it's massively about people and recruiting and growing and doing more and more and more. If we look back, our sphere in that world could be hundreds and thousands of people. But when you actually look at who you allow, and that was something I had to in recent years, take a step back, like being everything to everyone at all times, because it's also part of your job, right? But actually taking a step back and seeing, who do you want to allow in your inner circle? Who do you want to allow your most vulnerable self to? And trust those people around you to not only support you and be your cheerleader and all of that, but also to be your confidants, right? To be the people you can turn to. I mean, there's things I've experienced, and I know you have things you've experienced that probably have still yet to be voiced or shared with anyone.
Yeah.
Because they're just that private, or they're just too open for that judgment or that ridicule. And so I think one of the most courageous and brave things that you have done, and you did it far before I did, was actually open your mouth and have a voice.
Yeah.
And use your experiences to empower others and show others it's okay. And it's been such a blessing every time we do talk, or we go to Reiki shares or different events. Everybody's different. Their gifts come in different forms, right? So it's fascinating to learn about each other, but also knowing that you've got that unconditional support and love in those circles.
Yeah.
And I would say myself, if I were to look at the small sphere that I actually would call and consider my inner circle, there is no rhyme or reason to the 2 people next to each other. If I were to put them in a lineup in mugshots, it would look so crazy. Because that is blind. People's gifts, when we go into those different rooms and do different practices, you can't point a finger and be like, oh, well, that person's the best dressed, so they must be this. Or that person drives the nicest car, so they must be that. You have no idea the abilities and the powers and the gifts that people carry.
Yeah. Well, I think as I look at my life now and I look at the people that show up, the first thing I look at is I look at their trauma the second they show up. Within 60 seconds of somebody showing up, whether it's a healing session, real estate, whatever, I'm looking at, and probably with 99% accuracy, I could list the big 10 or whatever you want to call it, the big trauma pieces that they have, because everything's energy, and energy reflects itself. And so they're a direct reflection of me. And I do that. Probably I almost obsess with it at some level, but I do that so quickly and I'm so accurate with it now. I just see people at a level that I never understood before. And one of the biggest changes I've noticed is, since I've learned how to respect myself and love myself, people whom I would have dated or spent time with, not to disrespect them, but I'm just not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I've checked that box.
Yeah.
And that box was fucking painful.
Well, and when we speak about energy, it sticks to you, right? And you talk about your ethereal, like the holes, right? And patching those holes and protecting yourself and creating that shield. But then we go and engage with people that aren't doing the work. And it's no disrespect to anybody that's in their place in their journey. They may not even know what they're carrying.
Yeah.
Right. But we're quite aware of how it does transfer. And so doing this healing work, you went through becoming a Reiki master and quantum healing. Let's talk a little bit about that journey of, because you were the first person to say to me, like, oh, you should go to Reiki training. And I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And now I'm a Reiki master.
Well, it's funny how that happened. Like I said, everything turned off pretty quick. Sandra Grace and Kathleen and Linda and them, I had friends telling me, hey, Wes, they're just manipulating you. I said, but they're not charging me anything. Mm-hmm. All the hundreds of hours, combined hours, they never charged me a penny. All of a sudden, everybody was gone, and it was just me, and I knew it was over. The bulk of it was over. The security cameras, you couldn't see anything anymore. The house was being listed. For a little while there, that was worse than going through the haunting, because at least with the haunting, I was quote unquote special. There was something there. There was something unique, and I was just empty. And here I was again. Now, I sold that house. I mean, I sold the toilet paper, the tissues. That fucker got my toothbrush. I didn't go in the house.
Yeah.
I sold everything.
I remember a period where you were living at a campsite just to not be on the property, right?
Yeah, I look like white trash doing that. I had my camper, a Maserati, an Excursion, and a Jeep. I'm like, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to bring my shit. People are looking at me like I was crazy. But I'm a little wild, but I had a good time as best I could. I left that house literally with a clear plastic bag that had probably 10 pieces of clothes in it. And that's what I did with my marriage. I left with that. And here I was starting all over again. But finding the Reiki stuff, I just remember asking, I just told God, I said, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. And that was new for me. And it's funny because I would drive down, what is that? Is it Laskin Road that turns into 31st Street? Yeah. So at Laskin Road and Bird Neck Road in Virginia Beach, the white buildings to the left, there was an attorney's office, and the name was almost spelt Reiki. It was like one letter off. And I remember seeing it and seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. And I was living at 67th Street, so I was go by there all the time. And I remember Sandra Grace talking about Reiki. I didn't know what it was, but I was a little scared still. And I'm like, what if they come back? I'm going to take a Reiki class, and I'll give me some tools or something. Well, that's not what Reiki is. And it's interesting that after I signed up for the class, I never seen that attorney's name there ever again.
I think somebody bought the building and changed the name on it, because I know what building you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that or was God, or somebody kept putting it there. Something divine happened. So I walked into Reiki by mistake.
That is so interesting.
And the reason I stayed, one of the reasons I stayed, is my friend Trinae. One of my gifts is God has given me these insanely powerful women that have passed me along from person to person to save my life, including you. And Trinae said in that class, now I'm in that class, I'm 6'1", 230 pounds. I'm not a little dude. I'm rough as fuck. Hey, this is like the calm version of me. Then I was really rough as fuck. There's some pretty sensitive people that show up in those places. And I was probably a bit of a bulldog and wasn't intending to, but she had said, you can take a class, you can get certified, you can become a Reiki master, or you can learn how to live a Reiki blessed life.
Yeah.
And I did not understand what that meant. But I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I don't know what that is, but I was so miserable. I hated myself at a depth that I never thought I could come back from. But I'm like, I'm going to find that. And I have chased it like a fat boy chasing a taco, man, ever since. I have not stopped. And there's some times from here, there, I'd kind of waver off a little bit, but maybe for a couple weeks, and God would put me back on my path. I chase that because as a little boy, I wanted to be special. I didn't have a great childhood. My family loved me and stuff. The kids in the neighborhood would just brutalize the fuck out of me. I remember one day, they had beaten me up. They gave me a wedgie so bad that I was bleeding, and they had wrapped my underwear around my head to my throat. I remember just sitting on my knees screaming at God that I wanted to be special. Because if I was special, that wouldn't happen. I'm taking this Reiki stuff, and within a week, I'm doing far beyond Reiki master healing work without being taught how to do it. And I remember thinking to myself, he made me special, and I'm not going to forsake him. So I knew I could not become the healer that I could potentially be if I'm not healing what's between my ears. And I've chased that with a passion, and I'm good at it.
And that's why they call it a practice.
Yeah.
Because we practice every day, right? Now, how did that lead into quantum healing? And for the listeners, if you can define what is quantum healing?
Sure. Well, I get a phone call from Bluebird Woman. And if Bluebird, her first name's Jackie, and she is the lady that introduced me to Lakota, so part of the chain. And she said, there's a woman in town named Margaret. I'm going to go see her, see if she's a real deal. And she teaches quantum. I had no idea what it was. I'm like, fuck it, we'll go. So she comes back. She's like, she's the real deal. I didn't know what I was signing up for. I think Margaret gets frustrated with me. I seen her yesterday, actually. She said that my horror line is the highest she's ever seen. My vibration and stuff is just going through the roof right now, which is fun to hear. And so we went and took this class, and basically what quantum is like quantum physics. One of the things they've studied is they can take a cell, and they can cut that cell in half and have half of it on Earth and half of it on Mars. It will feel the same thing at the same time. There's no time or space in quantum healing. So that's why in Reiki you do long distance healing, but when you're tapping into the quantum field, I can connect with my friend Angelica, and she is in Iowa right now. I don't know who the fuck goes to Iowa, but she is in Iowa, and she has to sit down because her head's spinning. She can feel me working on her and stuff, and it's fun. We got clients all over the world. So the quantum work, my Reiki friends might get a little mad, but it's in my opinion, it's like it's like going to a plastic surgeon. I can go in and cut out that piece that doesn't need to be there, that block or whatever it is, and remove that, and it never comes back.
Yeah, and I can attest to that because you've done some incredible work on me, and that's stories for another day. But I remember not too long ago, you texted me out of the nowhere and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Well, actually, I'm in Las Vegas and I don't know if I'm okay." You were like, "Okay, I'm going to do some clearing and some healing and
Yeah.
some protection work for
Well,
you."
there was something in
Because
your
I was
room.
walking alone in Las Vegas, and you can only imagine what energy's left in those bedrooms and
Oh, yeah.
such. But it was eerie. And that day I was very like in just kind of a weird melancholy, like space. And it's interesting that until you stop and actually think about it and identify it, you don't realize like that might not even be me.
Yeah.
That might not be what I'm carrying.
Yeah.
So it was fascinating. That's not the first time that's happened between us where you've reached out of the blue. And now I'll reach out to you and say, "I don't know what's going on, but I need something."
Yeah. If I'm friends or we're connected, it doesn't happen with most of my clients anymore. It used to, but I've learned how to disconnect at a deeper level. But we've got a personal relationship. So it was just like Angelica, and she was on the show, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, because she does NLP healing work and stuff in Sedona. We were talking about something, and I said, "What is outside your bedroom door?" I didn't know what her house looks like. I didn't know she had a door going outside in her bedroom. That's not normal, right? A lot of people don't have that. And she asked me, she said, "How in the hell do you know that I have a door?" I said, "I don't know, but whatever it is, somebody's placed something at the door. It's a seashell, and don't touch it." And she opened the door, and there was a seashell.
Wow.
So that more than freaked her out. I don't know if that's quantum physics. I don't know if that, or quantum healing. I don't know if that's some
Energetic connection.
variation of one of the gifts that I have. The quantum work has taught me how to use different tools, and not to disrespect Jesus and stuff, but Jesus is a tool. When we ask Jesus for something, we're using a tool. Archangel Michael's a tool. And I just heard him say, "No, I'm not." And I'm like, "Yeah, you are." He likes to mess with me. These are gifts that God has given us to utilize, to ask for things, to clear things, to bring stuff in. They're all tools. So the quantum course gave me another level of tools that I can utilize. And for some reason, I'm just really, really good at it.
With the little that I've learned along the past couple years, it's like this sense of urgency that I wish everybody could understand, even just a little bit of the energetic body, right? In that quantum sense, whether it's your chakras, your auras, the energies that we carry, the cords we need to cut, right? And if there was just an ounce of understanding, and in a scientific manner, it doesn't beseech whatever your belief system is, right?
Yeah.
It actually aligns. We've done a lot of studies through belief systems all the way to the beginning of time, and being a yoga fanatic, Sanskrit, one of the ancient languages and symbols and such that were used, like it all aligns, common denominators. And if I just feel so strongly that if everybody could just open their eyes and their minds a little bit, the amount of healing and understanding that they would have about their own selves would be just miraculous. It would change the world. When you talk about your frequency, your vibration, I do believe we can accomplish love, peace, joy, and happiness on the earth, but everybody's got to get on the same vibration.
Yeah, right.
Because there's so many low vibrating souls and people that are stuck in that place of fear or doubt of the unknown. We talk a lot about life happens for you, not to you, right? And everything, it's like, okay, if you're still on the same, trying to accomplish the first mission on earth that you were handed, then you're still stuck in that. But like you did, you went to the Marine Corps, you succeeded there, you did that job, you came home, and guess what? Time for your next mission, time for your next assignment. You went through the next breaking down and restoring of who you are in a spiritual manner. And now you have the next challenge of putting that mark on the world and using that voice and being a tool for God, right?
Yeah, right.
We're all tools.
Yeah.
We're all voice and mouthpieces. So for people out there that are struggling, people out there that are stuck, that life is happening to them, and I'm not even going to say they're stuck in a victim mindedness because they might not even know that they're there. Some people choose to stay there. Some people don't realize they're there.
Sure.
What would be the message you would give in just overarching, no matter what background, what belief system, what religion they may be in, and where they are on that journey? What message would you give them that would be one of hope? Your favorite four-letter word.
It is. It's funny that you're asking me this question because every person I see, I try to give them, here's a nugget. And it's interesting how many people refuse to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. Trinae told me one day, she said, the ones that complain the most, the ones that are all over social media and stuff, they will never change. Mm-hmm. They're the least, they have the least opportunity of change because they're happy where they're at and they're in that.
Committed to their pain.
That's right. I would say, honestly, I would take a Reiki 1 class. I don't teach it. The Reiki Wellness Center in Virginia Beach.
Yep.
Do yourself a favor, get in a fucking plane and come take a class with Trinae.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people read the words out of the book is not Reiki. Reiki is learning how to heal, learning how to feel the energy, learning how to connect. We'll sit in a Reiki class with her and she'll have you sit across from this other person that's a total stranger. If you haven't figured it out, I'm a guy and most of them are ladies, so it's a little uncomfortable for them a lot of times. And I'm comfortable being vulnerable, but where you are connecting with their heart and you're feeling their pain and their sadness and all their stuff that's there. And that's what Reiki is realizing that energy is real, that everything that is in your life, you've manifested, even if it sucks.
Yeah, isn't that a wild realization?
Right? It's like, man, when she told me that, I'm like, fuck.
That's that law of attraction. Whatever your vibration is what you're attracting, right?
Yeah,
like
it
goes
is.
to like.
I mean, I had a triple doctorates in attracting women that were wild and fun until they weren't fun and threw me in the trash easily. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. I would 100% agree with you on the Reiki 1. No matter what base foundation people are coming from, it will enhance your prayer power, your manifestation power, your energetic understanding, your ability to connect with people or just understand them.
Yes.
Or respect one another more. I definitely agree with that. I was probably not the best student. She kept telling me, Cosette, you can't put Reiki in a spreadsheet. And I was like, yes, I can.
I remember that. I remember thinking that when you went. I was like, she's going to try to bring a laptop and make that shit a spreadsheet.
Oh, my gosh. And or I was determined to, like, check the box, figure it out, get the certificate. And it's just not that. You know?
Well, watching your journey, I am more than impressed and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Because I see a lot of people who with the same mindset and stuff go to these programs and they roll out pretty quickly because they can't put it in a box, and you haven't done that. You've adapted it and adopted it into your life, and you're changing. The person I used to know, thank God she's not here anymore. She was all right, but this is who I like.
I was very in my masculine energy.
Yeah. Watching you shift and grow and how God helped you move from different places that no longer served you, but you wanted to be there. And so God helped move you out of there.
Yeah.
That's always fun to watch.
And I know it's different for everyone. For me, Reiki 1, and you were probably the first one to say it, and it kind of slapped me in the face during one of our private sessions, was to love myself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I love myself. Like, of course I love myself. And it took me a long time to understand what self-love really is. And just being open flowing of love and unconditional love, which is purely God's power, right? I think Reiki 2 was healing the inner child. And again, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I was a cool kid. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then Reiki Mastery was releasing control. Just completely, yeah, I have a direction, I have a path, I put one foot in front of the other, but it's not so led by what I think I want or I need to achieve.
Sure.
It's trusting in what these abilities we do have, what influence we have, what voice we have, and using it for a higher purpose. And then seeing where that path leads and what doors open. But also it's like if you're not open to somebody walking into your path that maybe has a place there, that has a connection that you need to learn from or grow with, right? So many people are closed off to that because somebody doesn't look a certain way or isn't the right age, size, whatever, because we're so stuck on the material and the physical and the visual. So that was a big challenge this last year. Was like, okay, I submit, I release, I relinquish.
Well, I like to think of it as you opened your eyes to what life really is.
Yeah.
Life is energy. Everything is energy, and energy, like energy attracts like energy. And one of the things we're in, I always like to say eclectic Virginia Beach, kind of because it's funny, but Virginia Beach, I like it here, but it can be boring too, but like anywhere else. However, you'll see these individuals that will show up for meditations and all this stuff, and they'll carry their crystals and all their little things, and they're out hugging a fucking tree and doing whatever's
I know, I hug trees.
different. Yeah, I do now, because I can feel the energy. But I'll see them do that, and they'll say all the cool words, right? Well, saying the cool words is great, but if you're not doing what you're saying, you're not healing. Just because you have dreadlocks, you're a little white girl with dreadlocks and crystals running around barefoot at the beach, dating 50 guys this year, that is not a spiritual path. Let me just tell you. You're still on a learning path, and when you learn, maybe you won't be doing some of those things, even though you'll still be on a learning path.
Yeah. So speaking of paths, what's next on your path?
I thought I was going to retire out of real estate. And things did not line up. So I am staying in real estate. I've got my co-working space that is doing quite well. I am now certified as a NLP and quantum time technique healer, I guess is what you would call that. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. We go in and remove limiting beliefs. And the reason I've chosen to go into that pathway is I don't usually say this woo-woo stuff. I could do the woo-woo stuff quite easily. But I also know if I can't change the way somebody thinks, they're never really truly going to be healed. So that is the part that I have not implemented it 100% yet because, Sydney got married, then just life happened after I took the training class. So I'm taking my level 2, I don't know when it is, but I've already paid for it. It's like $8,000 class. The shit ain't cheap.
Wow.
The cool thing about that is, I met this lady, Megan Blackstone, I think is her last name. Nate and Megan. I don't know what the hell their last name is, but I met her and she started talking about that she can remove a limiting belief. So I'm like, okay, I had this huge belief of unworthiness. I mean, it controlled my life. In 50 minutes, it was gone. I bought a package with her and did some of that stuff. I signed up for her training and her classes. She's very gifted at what she does. That training, the level 1 was 7 or 8 days, 9 hours a day.
Jeez.
Yeah, right? I
That's
didn't think I was
intense.
ever getting out of that class. Level 2, I think, is 10 days. I think level 3 is 30 days, something like that. It's like a $25,000 class.
Wow.
And like 30 days of that straight. And Megan did hers out of town. So she stayed in a hotel somewhere, probably spent $50,000 on her stuff when it was all said and done. But where we basically can go into your timeline back to the day that whatever happened to you that created that belief and remove it. It's kind of cool.
It's fascinating because we're all hardwired, right? From things that have happened in our upbringing, in our childhood, our environments, our experiences. And we're in a medicated, therapeutic world where, and I am not knocking therapy at all, but you can I know people that have spent years upon years, decades with therapists talking about the same thing. And then when you learn, like literally, neurologically, energetically, you can go in and do this work. And they say it takes time to heal. Well, it does take time, but it can be a long time or it can be a short time. Depends on what modality and which way you want to approach it.
Sure. Well, I have worked with a lot of therapists over the years. I had this one doctor that sent me every one of his patients. And I'd never met the guy, but I worked on his wife. So whatever happened to his wife after my session, he sent me I think he sent me like 57 patients.
Wow.
In 1 month. And that was interesting. So, but I've worked with a lot of therapists. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I understand why people don't get better going to therapy. Because these individuals, hearing them talk about what's going on in their life on a lot of instances, it was a lot. In my mind, you would think that these individuals would be the most well-rounded. And there's plenty of them that are. There are plenty of them that are very well-rounded. But I was just a little taken back with some of the stuff that was going on. I think we found a better way. The better way is life happens for you and not to you, and learning that everything is a direct reflection, and everything that happens in your life, you set your ego to the side and look at, what did I do? What did I bring to the table? Even when you think you didn't bring anything to the table, and pay attention to that. That's how I started healing at a very fast level. Then you add in these things like the energy work that I do is when you come to me, I'll see clients that when I close my eyes, I see better from their knees down. There's nothing there, or they have vines growing up their foot into their hip. I'll see like a sword coming out of their back or whatever. Those are energetic blocks, and I'll literally grab that and pull that out. So many times I've heard somebody say, "What is that? What did you just pull out of me?" I'm like, "I don't know. It looked like a sword to me." Or I'll see snakes in people. So a lady was on my table the other day, and I seen these snakes in there. And so I'll touch the left side of her head, and the snake will stick its head out on the right ear to get away from me, and I'll grab it and I'll gently pull it out. Well, they actually have eggs. So if you don't pull it out slow enough and pay attention, it'll leave an egg behind, and that energy will grow back. So I learned that. That is not in any class.
Right.
Most of the work that I do was never taught to me. You will hear the client say, "Holy crap, what did you just do? I can hear out of my ear now. I felt something going through my stomach, up through around my heart." I don't know what is really there. It shows itself as a snake to me. I think you have to have that work done. And then you have to really focus on how life happens for me and not to me. And if Wes would really focus and finish his book, I've got all of that written out, everything I've learned. And I like to say, I can't walk through hell for you, but I'll do it with you. And I know the fucking shortcut because I've heard the devil's voice. That's in one of the episodes. They showed me where the gates of hell were. And for a brief second, I was like, I could just go in there and end all this. And when I heard the devil say, "Come on in," I think that's what he said. His confidence in that statement stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to something you just said about basically residual. There's a lot connected to the way the mind works. So somebody can get healed, somebody can do the work, but if they don't do the mental piece with it, because the mind is a habitual creature. It'll remind you, it'll go back to habits. So there's equal parts of you've got to do the mental work and the mindset work of, it's like if somebody dates a abusive person and then they go find the same thing again, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to that? Like, having with the mindset involved of combined with this work.
I see that all the time. I still do some of that. Come on.
We all do.
Yeah, I'm not perfect.
The mind likes patterns and habits, right? Because it wants to make things easier. The more habitual something is, the less it has to think about it. So that's how we fall into these ruts, into these habitual behaviors.
Right. And our body understands energy. Our soul understands energy. It's the human brain that has to be educated.
Right.
And so that I could walk into a room with 100 people and probably 98% accuracy tell you who's been sexually abused within seconds of walking in that room. I could tell you which girl is going to be the most fun to date, but it's going to be fucking painful when it's over. Just like anybody who keeps dating the same person over and over is energetically, you can feel that connection to them, and you think it is a sexual attraction or that's your person. But what it is the trauma of each person recognizing each other and pulling you to them. So the abuser recognizes the abused, and the abuser recognizes the other, and you guys come together, and now you're in that spot. So I think the answer to that question was, Trene's funny. She'll say, well, I don't want to be blunt. And I'm like, well, one of you never not be. And I don't want you to be soft and gentle with me.
Right.
I want to hear what needs to be said because I'm going to pay attention. Is I had to come to the real, she said, you're not fucking special, Wes. You got raped. Who fucking cares? Do you know how many people have been raped? I've been raped. Who cares? It doesn't make you special. It doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean that it wasn't valid. It doesn't mean that you're not suffering from it. But I made it special because that was Wesley's story. It's not my story. The book of Wesley Coons isn't, he's a raped little boy who had a gun to his head and this guy did horrible fucking shit. And that's not my story. That is a sentence or a paragraph in the back of Wes Coons, an experience that I had. So I had to get off the high horse of, I'm special, I was abused, that's going to control my life anymore.
I think that's the most important thing you've said this whole session.
Yeah.
People get stuck in their bad story and they feel that it defines them or defines every hindrance they've had in life, and they're committed to that story. They're stuck on that story. And with that also invites that energy, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about like the trauma bonding and things like that, right? The who, the what, the where, the when, they've all already happened.
Sure.
Right? You can't change any of those. That's old news. And they don't actually matter as much as people think, like she said to you. Okay, cool, I had an ex-husband. It wasn't the greatest experience, but guess what? So have probably half the people in the world.
Yeah.
Right? It's how are we changing from that? How are we growing from that? What are we learning from that actually matters? And how are we utilizing that to push forward in more meaningful and purposeful ways? So if somebody wanted to connect with you, if somebody wanted to start on this journey, what would you tell them? How would they find you? What would you say the first step is?
I'm on Instagram as VB Healer. My website is vbhealer.com. You can reach out to either of those. Send me a message. I think my phone number, as a matter of fact, my phone number is on my website. Shoot me a text. I will talk to you and answer your questions for free. I don't need to get paid. I don't need to get rich. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to turn you away if you don't have money. I'm a healer. I'm going to help you heal. So I'm going to answer your question, give you a little direction, and if you want some sessions, we'll do some sessions. I think making a decision that you're going to allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're going to allow yourself to really look at what people say. You know, there's some really great speakers. I mean, Tony Robbins is almost as good as me, right? There's lots of speakers out there that talk about stuff, and if you're not feeling good and not feeling energized and they're not opening your eyes, maybe you find somebody a little different. And so I hope we do that here on the show. You can reach out that way and we'll talk to you. We'll help you.
Yeah.
You don't have to come to Virginia Beach. I can do the work long distance.
As one thing that impressed me a lot about this line of work, Trinae would say the same thing. If you can't afford it, just let us know. We'll work it out. And the amount of gifts in exchange that we've done, we've always say there's magic in gifts. Giving to each other has been just a beautiful thing. Nobody's turned away. And even in my own business with Joyful Living, it doesn't matter what the budget is, because you shouldn't have to be able to afford healing. And sometimes healing is just one nugget, one piece that you can apply today. So if you were to leave your listeners with that one thing out of this session that you would hope would make its mark on them, that they could walk today with and carry with them, that would impact their life, what would you say that is?
I think that would be, it's not too late. It's not too late to change. It's not too late. I see people come to me, the things that they're saying are valid. I'm 99.9% of my clients are ladies, and I'll have a lady sitting across from me with 3 or 4 children. She doesn't have a college education. She doesn't have a skill set. The husband's probably not the best husband. She feels like she has to stay there because of X, Y, and Z, which is a valid thing to say, but it doesn't mean you can't heal. It doesn't mean you can't show up when he's not there. It doesn't mean you can't not listen to a podcast or reach out or try to find new healthy friends. There's opportunities there. And the other thing that I've really come to realize that is true, and I would argue this up to last year, honestly, that we can manifest things that in this 3D world is not going to happen, but God doesn't work in the 3D world. I've talked about on the show, me buying my dad's building, I did not qualify. The real estate broker looking at the numbers did not qualify, because if you're in real estate, you pick and choose. Do I really write off everything this year in taxes or not, right? So if you know that
Self-employment.
if you know you have a big purchase coming up, you don't write off as much. You pay more taxes so you can buy things. And
Right.
I have seen over and over, I like Joel Osteen. I enjoy his show. He makes me feel good. He helps me learn things. And he talks about how we're stuck in this 3D world of 9 to 5, and well, God doesn't work in that realm.
Right.
I mean, this is the creator of the universe who, he says, throws stars into the universe and created humans and animals and cats and all this stuff. The reality is, it's almost kind of rude if you think you can't manifest it because you don't believe God can do those things for you.
Yeah, I like that.
But there's a key to that. For that to come in to play for me, really play, I had to get real with myself because I knew things weren't coming to play because there was blocks there. So I had a choice, and that was a pivotal, how do you say, pivotal, how do you say that?
Pivotable.
It was a big opportunity in my life for something different. And I was angry at my dad. I was angry at my brother. I was angry at myself. I hated that fucking building. In the past, universe, hear that, Lord, in the past, I hated that place. I hated being in the family business. I was angry about things. I was angry about my dad, how he spoke to me and stuff like that. And when I took my ego out of it and looked at it, my dad was talking to me the best way he can as a 92-year-old man.
Yeah.
Right? And so I texted him everything I thought about him. How he worked 2 and 3 jobs for years. How him and mom never fought one time in front of his kids. And all these things that he sacrificed. When I did that, after I did that with Dad, I told God, I said, if my journey is to lose everything right now, I'm good with it. I don't think that's where you want me to be, but maybe it is. Because if it is, then I know there's something on the other side that's going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
And when I did all those things, and I think I even said, if you fucking want me to go home, take me. And funny thing, my heart started hurting so bad. I'm like, well, here it goes. After about 10 minutes, I felt better. Like, well, I thought I was going home. But yeah, I just told him, I said, do what you need to do. I'm okay with it. I love you. I accept you in my life. And by the way, you need to put those people in front of me. I'm not looking for it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. That's that submit.
Yeah, I
I'm
submitted.
talking about, yeah.
And I didn't need to be right anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there's this ego of Wes the broker and all these things. I'm supposed to be this big tough guy and all these other things. I don't, you know who I am? Most people don't know who I am.
Yeah.
You do. I was just at peace. It was okay.
I had a realization recently. It was stop trying to be the director and be directed.
Yes.
Right. Because we're always in charge. We're always the ones doing. And
You're a pretty good director, though.
I am a good director. But I need a director.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, I will let the higher bees be my director.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing I would like to say is be willing to receive the miracle. I heard that from Joel Osteen. He was talking about, Lord, forgive me for blah, blah, blah. The next Sunday, Lord, forgive me for the same thing. And every Sunday you go to church and ask God to forgive you for something. And he said, you're driving your dad's car and you wreck it and you say, Daddy, I made a mistake. I was texting and I hit somebody. Okay, son, I love you. Don't do it again. The next day, hey, Dad, about the third or fourth day, Dad's going to be like, dude, fucking move it along, all right?
Right.
So that's what we're doing with God, is asking to be forgiven. But what we forgot and what we don't think about, and nobody ever told me, is I needed to be open to receive his forgiveness because he gave it to me instantly. It's there. It's one thing my dad always was able to do no matter what we did. And girl, I know this may be a shocker, but I've done some stupid shit in my life. I've seen the back of a police car more than a few times. I'm quite familiar with most of the judges as a younger man. And Daddy would have a conversation with you. And when you walked out of that room, no matter what you did, you were forgiven and not treated any differently. That is not easy to do. And my dad always was able to do that with us. So have your heart open to receive the blessing that you've asked for. I tell people all the time, this lady calls me last week. She has this medical condition. If you can't guarantee me that it's going to be fixed, I'm not going to come. And I said, ma'am, I don't guarantee anybody anything. But God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, is pretty powerful. And I've seen cancer healed on my table. And I would just say, be willing to receive the miracle that you're asking for.
And in the divine time that it's to be delivered.
Yeah.
We're often too impatient, right? Give it the time to be delivered.
Well, yeah, I had this one lady came, 52 years old, had 3 young children. And on the phone, she said, you're my last resort. And that messed with me at a deep level. I agonized over taking her as a client because I took my friend Dawn and she said that to me and my friend died. It was her time. I almost quit healing work after that. I have suffered losing Dawn Higgins. God, she was beautiful. But this lady, I prayed about it and I just told God, I said, I'm going to do the work. You sent her, I'm going to do the work. And the last time I seen her, she said, my blood work's normal.
Wow.
They wanted her to go to hospice. I ain't seen her. It's been probably close to a year. So I think she did, I don't know, 7 or 8 sessions.
Yeah.
After about the second or third time, she said something. She's like, when's it going to work? I said, when are you going to open your heart to receive the miracle? Mm-hmm. Your heart's closed. I can see your heart's closed. I can see the cage over your heart. And we did that session. I removed that cage once again. And it kept coming back because she
Kept putting it back.
kept putting it back, right?
That's that mental piece I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen miracles happen left and right. Sandra Grace worked on my friend Sabrina years ago when she was teaching me. And Sabrina had, what did she have? She had some kind of illness. I forget what it was. As she was on the table, you could see her body being pushed back and forth because the angels were working on her so strongly. I don't know, this is probably 6 years now, and that disease is gone. She was willing to open her heart, receive the miracle, and the angels came and did the work. Lupus. She had lupus.
Lupus.
She doesn't have it anymore.
It's incredible. That's a lifelong.
I told her, I said, we should have asked to have the stick pulled out of your ass at the same time, but that didn't happen. She's been 100% lupus free. I haven't talked to her in a while,
Yeah.
but the last time I seen her, she said, oh yeah, I haven't had any flare-ups. I'm like, because you're cured. Stop saying you're not having flare-ups, because you don't have flare-ups anymore, because you're cured.
Yeah.
Receive your miracle.
Yeah. And speak it. Speak it, affirm it, believe it, embrace it. It's fascinating, above and beyond all the work that you do and that I'm diving into. Healing is everywhere. You got cats, you got birds, you got trees, you got grass, you got the ocean, right? Music. Healing it's literally built into every part of our world if we just open up and embrace it and see it for what it is, right? Stop being so closed off and concrete buildings and, bad music and bad company.
Yeah. Well, Joe Dispenza, that's the guy,
Joe.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a new, it maybe came out a year ago, but he's got a new video or whatever you want to call it. Source is within you. And then I believe he had the one called Heal. If you haven't listened to or watched those, you need to watch those. Source is within you. Basically, if you go to his 7-day retreat or whatever it is, you're doing all this meditation, and they're doing blood work before and after, and they're showing that people after a week of doing meditation, when they take that blood and they insert the SARS disease or different diseases into the petri dish, it will not absorb into the cells of the person. But when they did it before they started doing meditation, it did.
Wow.
That just meditation alone is changing
medicine,
so
man.
much. Yeah.
It's incredible. It is so incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, this has been a fascinating session. Thank you for extending it with me and going through
Well, thank you.
the whole journey. I'm excited to see how far you go and just how far your healing can reach. I love this podcast, and I know you have listeners all over the world, so thank you for joining us and getting to hear from the actual host himself.
Yeah. Thanks for, Cosette, thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure.
You have been a blessing more than you know in my life. If you're listening to the show, thank you. I hope you're receiving something for this. This is where we break generational curses and create generational blessings. If somebody hasn't told you today that you are loved, the light in me sees the light in you, and I love you, and you're important, you're gifted, and we will see you next week.
Oh, I love it.
Thanks, Cosette.
Thank you.